Hey everybody, welcome back to our ongoing coverage on Grounded. So it's patch day, and we got a few big changes and some stuff that's in there. I will say, this was not the pond update. I know everyone was speculating that, and that's kind of the reason I tried not to cover any of that stuff, because I figured it was too ambitious for what we were going to get in the first month. And again, remember, it's early access. It's also a team of 13 people, so you can't expect the world like that. And it's also that they're basically creating a new ecosystem in the pond, so that's a lot of work to be done by such a small group of people. So just going forward, try and keep that in mind, that some of these updates, though they may seem gigantic, are going to be probably smaller tidbits, but I think that works out better just based on what we saw in this one and hopefully what we'll see from ones in the future. So I'm going to kind of get into some of the smaller stuff here and sort of show you what some stuff that has changed, and maybe some minor stuff you probably didn't notice because I don't think it was like explicitly stated in there, or at least if it did, some actual real world implications of that stuff, or what's to actually be seen. So one thing I noticed first off, and I don't know if this was in the notes or not, but ants seem to have been fixed. I spawned in here without having tried, and I got, 27 ant eggs pretty much immediately. There was also, if you'll notice on the actual egg itself, there's a little exclamation point, which that means something hasn't been analyzed yet, which is super helpful for trying to just shift through stuff and seeing something very obviously you haven't done yet, which is good to see. Here on the markers and stuff, they've also added quite a few new options for that. As you can see, we basically get like a whole new top row there, and then they've added ones for arachnids and other bugs. And I think that star is a new one too. So yeah, we got some new stuff there, so we can mark the map a little bit easier, and you can actually know exactly what you're looking at, as opposed to just kind of speculating what you think you put there. This is another huge one too. As you can see, they also changed almost all of the indicators for items, with the exception of weevil parts isn't still the same, but everything else got some kind of very obvious change, so you can see sort of right off the bat what you're looking at. Instead of having to scroll over every single thing, you have a better mental idea of what's in your inventory, which is huge. Here's another big one too. So they've also changed this pond area a ton. Like, they renovated pretty much the entire section by the bird bath. So I'm not going to go too far into actually seeing the difference. I think it'll be fun for you to kind of notice on your own. They've also added some smaller creatures in the water. I think there's some kind of gnat that lives down there. They don't have a title card when you scroll over them. There's some kind of water gnat. You can't attack in the water, so you can't attack them, and they don't drop anything. I don't believe. I tried to shoot at them with arrows, and it didn't seem to do anything either. So they're just there, I think, for a future update, which sort of shows the ecosystem starting to evolve. And then also you'll notice too that the leaves and all that stuff in there is kind of broken up and crumpled, and his area again has changed totally. So I will say this too I stumbled upon, but there's this sort of decayed leaf here, and I fell through it. And this is going to take you to where the 4-leaf clover is, which I'd seen in screenshots and stuff, but I didn't know if anybody had actually found it yet. And there may be another way to get to it as well, but this is the way that I ended up stumbling on it, which is pretty neat. It's kind of a long run through here, but once you get to it, you'll unlock one of the new things that they added, which is perks, or genetic mutations, I guess. You can have up to 3 of them. And see there, Coup de Grace is the one that I got there. And I'll show you here what it looks like in a second. But yeah, they added perks, so you can have 3 at a time. They sort of change your genetics a bit, so you can get, like, I know there's one for more health, which I showed in the video. There's another one I found for more stamina, which is the one that I ended up picking just because of health. I've tended to be okay on that end, but I could use more stamina, so I picked that one up. There's also another one for exploring certain things. But actually, hold on one sec. I'll show you. There's also on the way out, there's a scab that I don't know that was there in the game previously. But yeah, so if you'll see here, discovering a beacon of hope in the darkness of light will help you survive. Burst inspiration flash before your eyes with the heat of battle as you land blows. It can only be described as lucky. So a lot of the mutation stuff, some of them are very obvious. Some of them are not very clear as to what they actually do, especially this one here. The other ones too, there's different tiers of the perks as well, so you don't notice it on that one. But in the other two, like right here, Buff lungs, obviously you inhale. If you see that one though, there's 3 stars in the bottom right hand corner there, and so that means that it'll get better as you progress. Again, I don't know what this means either. Gain a better understanding of the layout of the yard. I don't know how that actually transmits into the real world. Just because I haven't actually seen what that translates to. What I'm hoping though, especially with the other perks as well, is I hope that it will sort of like, I hope there's one for research points and getting bonus research stuff, because that's been something that's been kind of hard for everyone to get to. This also on the map there, I don't know if that arachnid thing is part of this, where it just shows like where stuff is. But yeah, this too is another like smaller one, but you'll notice all the tapes are now different, so they're all kind of color coded, or at least a bit more obvious what they are. I think in the world too they show up larger than they did previously. Same with the scabs, they all look a little bit bigger, which is nice because they're sometimes hard to find. Which, yeah, I'll show you. There's a tape there. It just seems like it's slightly larger. It just seems bigger than it was before. Here's a little bit of the spider combat as well, because they've changed that. I definitely die on this one because I get surprised by a second one. But as you can see, they're more aggressive and a little more unpredictable. Like, that first one should have been an attack, but then it decided to back up and do something else. So it seems, yeah, see, and then this guy came out of nowhere. But yeah, it definitely seems like they've changed it quite a bit, and I know they said they did. They've made the combat a little harder, and they've adjusted a few things. The dagger was another one too. They said they increased the damage of it to make it closer to a tier 2 weapon, which it definitely seems like it is. The Mitt Mallet still seems like the top of the list as far as attacks go, but you know, maybe that one's quite a bit better. It's hard to say. Here I've jumped into creative now. I wanted to sort of show some of the items and stuff that I haven't. Not that I haven't unlocked, but ones that are it's just easier to show you here in creative. But first one being the marksman hat. This is for the bird feather. My girlfriend found the bird in her game. I haven't seen it in mine yet. But that is increased damage to bow attacks, which is cool if you like that stuff. And the defense on it was pretty decent. Here also they've changed the layout of the opening of the game. There's a boot print there to start with, which is pretty neat. There's definitely quite a few more of them around the map as well. But that's the first like obvious one that you find when starting a new game, or when starting into creative mode or whatever. Here's another thing I dug up to, was the zip lines are starting to get tampered with, which is pretty exciting. I know they had mentioned something about that, but I wasn't sure if we were going to actually get anything like that. But it turns out they're at least workshopping it. You can place them, and you can also place a line between them, but it is a little, you can't ride them still though, and it's a little weird. It seems like a better system for this, because it puts you you'll see here in a second, but it puts you in like a first person mode when you try to connect it, but you can't like rotate or move yourself. And then with the Q or E you can sort of attach a zip line to something, but as you can see they're a little not straight and kind of weird. And you can't ride or do anything with them just yet, but that's cool that that's coming, and that's something that's in there already, so we should probably see that relatively soon, I would think. But I'm not 100% sure. Obviously that's just a speculation. But yeah, here under crafting, so we've got so tables is a big one, and there's 2 different types. The thing about these though, I found I tried to put stuff on them, but they don't seem to hold anything. You can jump up on them and drop stuff, and it'll sit on there. But with things despawning now, I don't know if that'll affect those or not. I know grass planks and other things will. In addition to that, too, weeds have grown back in my game, with the exception of 2 spots that I can remember. All the other ones seem to be back to normal. It almost seems like this update kind of refreshed the world a bit, too, because it seems like bugs and ants and everything is just back to a default amount or state. I'm not quite sure though. I know earlier as well I got a mission to create ladybug shins, which I also tried to repair the ones I had and then equip and unequip the ones I had, hoping that might just spring it, but it didn't, so I have to find ladybugs again, which still seem to be the most rare bug in the game for whatever reason, but ladybugs seem harder to come by. But yeah, as you can see there, I placed some fences too. I also just tried to place items on the table, and I couldn't, and then this is where I tried to drop an item on the table, and it seemed to stay on there. Which there's that. You also notice that there was a question mark or a exclamation point on that one, so I hadn't scanned it in this new in this new creative mode. So that gives me the idea that everything that you haven't analyzed will show up that way. This is another huge one. So they've added triangle walls, and this is something I really wanted. But they've added a few new roof and wall pieces. Mainly this here. So now you have a wall piece that's upside down, effectively how it used to be. So you can get better angles and stuff and build better corners and whatnot, and sort of attach bridges and other things to make it look a little more uniform. Which for me personally, because I've spent a lot of time in the building stuff, is huge. And anybody that's followed the channel, I think you'll know that that's primarily what I end up doing. So for me and future builds and other builders, I think that'll be a big one. I'm going to skip forward just a little bit because I didn't quite get a handle on this roof yet. And so, okay, so as you can see there, I've got sort of a roof started. So now you can do kind of a Patagon roof setup there, which is definitely different than what we had the option for before. You could kind of make this happen, but it was like 4 pieces where now you have more of like an octagon shape, which is kind of neat. I was also trying to attach some stuff to it, the angled walls, but they don't because these are technically flat walls, are more or less. Like they're more in line with the flat roof, and they connect with those, which I'll show you here because I was trying to figure out exactly what these were for. But yeah, so they connect to those. They don't. It's not like a one-to-one connection. They're a little under it. You'll see, like if you look at the edge of the angled roof and then look at the edge of the new roof, it's sort of like right under it, so it sort of doesn't line up exact. I don't know if that was intentional or if that's just something they're going to fix, but you can see it there too. It's like they're just slightly off, but that is like the thing I think they're intended for. So effectively what you could do is like if you're building a gymnasium or something, you could extend that out all the way and kind of give it this like rounded top, which is neat. There's also, I was trying to test the old angled stuff here just to show you kind of the difference. So that's like, it's just larger. It's a larger roof setup, so you can kind of do a little bit more with it. You can almost shape one completely around it. So that's kind of a big one, especially on the building side of stuff. And I'm trying to remember what exactly I did next here. Oh yeah, I tried to extend off it, so you can still do like the angled roofs on the corner slots of them. They just slot in a bit different, so that kind of opens us up to just more options for stuff to build or more ways for stuff to interact when you're building out, which I think is really neat. And I think that's a good change, at least to make some more interesting stuff overall, especially with fences too and tables. They also added a new bed, which I'll show you here in a second. But yeah, they just a lot of, I think, really neat stuff to kind of make the building in this game seem more fleshed out, which I hope they just continually add more and more to, because that's the thing I've enjoyed the most. Yeah, you'll see here, so this is sort of what I was talking about. You can kind of make, there's a bed frame at least anyway, but I'll show you one more thing after I put that down and kind of take a look at it. Yeah, so there's the bed, and so what I was doing here is I sort of started to make, it's been a bit since I've played also, so I'm kind of like getting the controls back down and whatnot. But I would take these grass walls and sort of try to manipulate them around here. So what you can kind of do now is sort of make like a spiraled staircase around stuff look a little bit better, just because you have the angle of it ascending rather than falling down. I also tried to make a full wall out of it, which you still can't do, which you couldn't do before with the other ones either. So that, it's something just to note. But yeah, if you'll see here, that's kind of like an added side to it. And then I think I put another scaffolding here and then did a very similar thing with the other side. Yeah, so there's that, and then kind of a mix between the two. So yeah, as you can see, it kind of gives the impression, of a thing ascending up. So you can sort of make a better tower, I think, with it too, or a better looking tower anyway, which I think is really neat. But yeah, I think that's all the major stuff. And again, performance across the board has been vastly improved, which is a welcome addition as well. But yeah, I think that's it. So thanks guys for watching. If there's anything that I missed you want me to come over or anything like that, please feel free to leave it in the comments below. But obviously there'll be more stuff coming in the next coming weeks as we start to uncover the rest of the yard and what's changed there. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one, and thanks again for watching.